So let's talk about this. We're going to write all those things down that we just did in the investigation into your notes. Actually, I've already written most of it out. So here, this first thing is called the corresponding angles postulate. Why is it a postulate? Because it's something that we can show is true, but it's really hard to prove that it's true. Okay? We can verify it by looking at some examples, but it's really hard to prove that it's true. Yes, sir?
What's a postulate?
A postulate is a statement that you can show is true by examples, but it's really hard to prove that it's true.
So it's like a theory.
Kind of. Okay? So if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of corresponding angles are going to be congruent, just like we found in our little experiment. Okay? So in this diagram, any pair of corresponding angles are going to be congruent. How do I know that? Because what does this little arrow mean here? What does that mean about the lines? That they're parallel. If we don't have that, we can't say any of this. The lines must be parallel. All right, so let's do this example. What kind of angles are the 2x minus 45 and the x plus 30?
Corresponding.
They're corresponding angles. Are the lines that make those two angles parallel to each other?
Yes.
So they are congruent, so their measures are equal. So 2x minus 45 is going to be equal to x plus 30. So now I just need to do the algebra to solve that, so I'll subtract x from both sides. I'll add 45 to both sides. Now I'll get that x is 75. All right. See if you can answer the next one on your own while I come around and pick up scissors.
Oh, Lord.
All right. That should be a pretty quick exercise. A is going to be how much, everybody?
110.
110. How much is x going to be? 110. There are two different reasons I could give for that. Someone raise your hand, please, and give me one of them. Morrissey.
They are alternate exterior.
They. Who's they?
A and X.
Yes, indeed. A and x are alternate exterior. And
And
we know what about the lines?
they are parallel.
They're parallel. Because it's not true if the lines aren't parallel. What is the other reason we could give for this? I need somebody else. Yes?
X is congruent to 110. That is corresponding.
Exactly right. X and the original 110 are corresponding. Are corresponding angles always the same?
No.
No, only when
They are
Parallel.
when the lines are parallel.
Oh, I see how we needed that investigation.
Exactly. And that's why we did that. Okay? So then y is how much? Anybody?
110.
110. There are not one, not two, but three different ways I could find that. Liam, give me one.
It's vertical angle with X.
It's a vertical angle to x. Morrissey, give me a different one.
Alternate interior with 110.
Alternate interior with the original 110. There's a third one. Yes, sir.
corresponding angle.
With which one? With A, yes. A and Y are corresponding. All right. What about poor Z?
Oh,
So it's how much?
180.
It's 70.
Up to 180.
Okay, so there are three different things that I could say that it was supplementary to. Give me, I need to get some other people involved. Tell me,
What's the question?
how do I know that Z is 70?
Well, because like X is 110 and you know it's a supplementary line.
Yes, because what kind of angles are these two angles?
Same side.
Same side what?
Interior.
Same side interior, exactly right. They're same side interior and the lines are parallel, so they're supplementary. That's one way. There's a different way. Yes?
It's a linear pair.
Yes, it's a linear pair with either X or Y. And linear pairs are always supplementary. All right, so let's move on to page 2. So the three other pairs of angles we looked at besides corresponding angles were alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and same side interior angles. So when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then the pairs of alternate interior angles are congruent. Same thing for alternate exterior angles. When you've got two parallel lines, it's got to be parallel lines though. If it's not parallel lines, none of this works. Okay? But then the same side interior angles, were they congruent? Samantha, we're up this way. Were the same side interior angles congruent? Look at your piece of paper. Were they congruent? No, what were they? They were supplementary when the lines were parallel. So, in this diagram, I would know that angle 2 is congruent to angle 6, and that 7 is congruent to angle 3. I would also know that angle 1 is congruent to 5 because those are alternate exterior angles, and angle 8 is congruent to 4. And then 2 and 3 are supplementary, and 7 and 6 are supplementary. Okay, I know all of those things. All right, so let's do some example problems. Here, I want to find the measure of angle TUS. And by the way, that's not a BX, that's a 13X. It's just not very neatly written. Sorry about that. So, we want to look at, I've got these two angles in terms of X. What type of angles are these two angles?
Same side.
Same side interior. When the lines are parallel, and they are, what do I know about same side interior angles? They're supplementary. So I'm going to write an equation that says that. 13x plus 23x is equal to 180. Combine the like terms, that'll be 36x is 180. Divide both sides by 36. It's 5. It asked me to find the measure of angle TUS. TUS. Well, that's this angle. Okay. So the measure of angle TUS is 23 times 5. It's 115 degrees. Okay, let's move on to the next one then. In this diagram, the 2x plus 10 and the 3x minus 15, what type of angles are those? The 2x plus 10 and the 3x minus 15. What kind of angles? Alternate interior. Are the lines parallel? Yes. So how are they related? Are they congruent or are they supplementary? They're congruent. So I'll write an equation that says that. 2x plus 10 is equal to 3x minus 15. Subtract the 2x from both sides. I get 10 is equal to x minus 15. Add 15 to both sides. And I got x is 25. I'm sorry? We know they're parallel because of this right here. I'm sorry. You say, think question what? Question. We'll get to that in a second. Hang on. All right. So I want the measure of ABD. ABD. So the measure of angle ABD is going to be 2 times 25 plus 10. That's 50 plus 10 is 60 degrees. All right. Let's look at question 3, which is a little bit harder. Got all kinds of lines going on here. Now, sometimes it's helpful to find other angles, but let's see if we can do anything with this. What type of angles are the 60 and the 25x plus 4y? Same side what?
Interior.
Yes?
I think if you do 180 minus 60, you get the one for the other side, and then it would be corresponding to 25x plus 5y.
Okay, let's talk about that. You're right, but where you're going is wrong. Okay? He's exactly right. This angle is 120. He's also exactly right. These two angles are corresponding angles. Are they made by two lines that we know are parallel? No. Do we know that this line's parallel to this line? No. So do I know these two are congruent to each other? No. So I can't use that. But you're right, this is 120, and these do correspond. Okay? Now, what kind of angles are these two? Same side interior. How should they be related? Supplementary. What about the 120 and the 25x plus 4y? They're corresponding, so they should be congruent. Which one is easier to work with, congruent or supplementary?
Supplementary.
Really? Okay. I wouldn't have thought that at all. I think congruent's easier to work with. You could just set them equal to each other. There's no other numbers involved. I would write as my first equation for this one that 25x plus 4y is equal to 120. What kind of angles are this 125 and the 25x plus 5y?
What's an exterior?
Alternate exterior. Is my transversal going across parallel lines?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So what's the relationship between those two? They're congruent. Since this has bigger numbers than the other one, I'm going to write it on top of the first one. And here we have a problem we're like, I can't solve either of those equations by itself. But, hang on a second, I can subtract the first equation or the second equation from the first one. If I do that, 25x minus 25x leaves me with how many x's? Zero.
Say zero.
How many y's is it going to leave me with?
One.
1. Well, that's nice.
Five.
So I've got y is equal to 5. Now I can solve this. I've got y is equal to 5. I can substitute that into either one of the equations I want. Doesn't matter, I'm going to substitute into the first one. So 25x plus 5 times 5 is equal to 125. So that's 25x plus 25 is equal to 125. Subtract 25 from both sides. I have 25x is equal to 100. Divide by 25. We have x is equal to 4. So you have to be careful on these that you're not trying to put things together where the transversal is not crossing parallel lines. If the transversal is not crossing parallel lines, this doesn't so much work. Okay? Any questions? Okay, you still have about 20 minutes left in class. Please go ahead and get started on your assignment. It's in your book. You can find it on RenWeb or in Google Classroom.